Albert Pujols with a pair of RBIs last night in game number 2 against the Pirates. The Cardinals won that game. Pirates took game 1. Rubber matchup here this afternoon, and it is a glorious afternoon for baseball. The Pirates and the Cardinals in game 3. With Al Lebowski, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals Baseball. We are your home of the Cardinals all season long, Fox Sports Midwest. Last night, Al, in many ways, a much-needed win for St. Louis.
It really was, and they had to take advantage, and a little bit sloppily, as there were 9 walks total in that ball game. Walks usually haunt you, but only 1 of the 9 came around to score. Yes, it was the game winner for the Cardinals. 2 more times the Cardinals hit into double plays when they had those walks ahead of them.
Ryan Franklin, many times you talked to him after the game, and he's very even-keeled, but he mentioned last night the importance of getting that first save.
Well, he knew he blew opening day. He did not do that at all last season. He only had 2 blown saves. Both of those were on the road a year ago, so he desperately wanted to pick up his team.
Sit back, get ready. Gorgeous day for baseball. And a look at the starters when we come back on Fox Sports Midwest. For day baseball today, and Kevin Correa gets the start for Pittsburgh.
A rare free agent signing for the Pirates. Opening day starter. He won that game against the Cubbies. He'll go attack the hitters. He's an innings eater and a welcome addition for their young pitching staff.
Speaking of opening day, Chris Carpenter got the call for the Redbirds.
Pitched very effective, 7 innings. He gave up 2 runs, but only on 2 hits. Got a no decision in that ball game, but he owns the Pirates, so look for a win today.
18 years of futility for the Pirates. Has it really been that bad? Jim Hayes with a closer look when we come back on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals and the Pirates from Busch Stadium on a gorgeous afternoon for baseball. Over the years, 18 of them. It hasn't been all bad for Pittsburgh. Here's Jim Hayes.
When Sid Bream's slide clinched the 1992 NLCS for Atlanta, no one knew it would be the last time the Pittsburgh Pirates would be relevant. No one could have predicted that the two-run lead the Pirates blew in the ninth would lead to 18 straight seasons of losing baseball. But it hasn't been all bad since Bream, has it? Jay Bell won the Silver Slugger in 1993 and snapped Ozzie Smith's 13 straight Gold Gloves. The 97 Pirates had the first and only extra-inning no-hitter in baseball history, and that year's team was competitive up until the last few games. Jason Kendall became a three-time All-Star for the Pirates, collecting 6 seasons of 300 or better. He hasn't hit 300 or made an All-Star team since he was traded in 2004. In 2001, the Pirates opened beautiful PNC Park. Even though they haven't had a winning season in it yet, fans have watched Albert hit 26 home runs there, most among visiting players. Pirates fans did enjoy 4 straight 30-home run seasons by Brian Giles up until 2003 when he was traded. He never reached 30 home runs in a season again. In return for Giles, the Pirates got a young prospect named Jason Bay, who would win the 2004 Rookie of the Year. The same Jason Bay who signed a 4-year, $66 million deal last year with New York and hit just 6 home runs all season long. In 2004, Jack Wilson collected 200 hits. In 2006, Freddie Sanchez won the league's batting title. In 2008, Nate McLouth hit 26 home runs. In 2009, he was traded. In 2010, he struggled so badly in Atlanta, he was sent to AAA. McLouth's departure gave rise to Andrew McCutchen, and he's been one of the most exciting players in the game, although it seems just a matter of time before he's playing somewhere else. Sure, the Pirates have made a few mistakes, like signing Andy Van Slyke in the 1992 offseason instead of Barry Bonds, or drafting Brian Bullington first overall in the 2002 draft instead of Zach Greinke, Prince fielder Matt Cain, or Cole Hamels, or reportedly refusing to trade Chris Benson to the Phillies for Ryan Howard in 2004. But look on the bright side. It can't get any worse, can it?
Chris Carpenter, the opening day starter, gets the call today. He has dominated the Pirates in his career. He's 11-1 with a 2.12 ERA against the Buccos. Can the Cardinals take 2 of 3? We're about to find out. Baseball is coming up. Home of the Redbirds, Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Food on the grill and a perfect day for baseball here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. We're certainly glad that you're with us. And along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Clint Hurdle's lineup is presented by Southwest Airlines. Jose Tabata, then Neil Walker and Andrew McCutcheon here in the first. Overbay, Alvarez, Domit, Jones, Rodriguez, and Kevin Correa, the pitcher. On the mound for St. Louis, the Bulldog, Chris Carpenter.
Or you'd like to have seen a win on opening day. He pitched well enough to receive one. Only 2 hits allowed in his 7 innings, but they got 2 runs to tie that game and no decision. But he owns the Pittsburgh Pirates. 10 straight wins against the Buccos.
And we're underway, and the first pitch is a strike. Tabata is hitting .389. No home runs and no RBIs.
Carpenter has a career mark of 11-1 against Pittsburgh. Oddly, he had 2 well-pitched games last season, but took 2 no decisions. A lot of these guys have changed over the years, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, and we've talked about the importance of a healthy Chris Carpenter yet again this year. Nasty pitch again. He's won 15 or more games for the Cardinals in each of the last 5 seasons, in which he's made 20 or more starts. And for the most part, if he stays healthy, this team wins.
Last year, Dan, was the first time as a Cardinal pitcher when he had 15 wins that they did not go to postseason. That's been how important he's been to this team.
It's 71 degrees for day baseball as we wrap up this homestand. And then it's off to San Francisco over the weekend. Their opening day at home will be on Friday. Much fanfare for the world champions, I'm sure. Here's a ground ball on an inside-out swing. Got in on his hands. Carpenter covering the bag at first. And that's the first out. The defense behind Chris Carpenter. Alan Craig, another start in left field. Rasmussen center. Berkman is in right. Descalso, Terrio, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. And our battery today, Carpenter and Molina. Daniel Descalso. We've seen him as a pinch hitter, part of a double switch late last night, and getting a start at third base.
And still trying that formula of having Freeze play 2 out of every 3 games. Off day tomorrow, gets a bonus. And you got to get Descalso, untracked.
This is a liner into left center. That'll get down. Base hit for Neil Walker, who struck out 3 times in Game 2 last night. They really like what Walker can bring to Pittsburgh this year.
Pittsburgh native, and he really is very talented. They have a nice little nucleus, and I really do appreciate Colby really hustling, getting over here, cutting this ball off, quickly getting the ball back into the infield. Many times last year, an opposition would take advantage of a play like that on Colby, and now he's learning that part of that progression, making him the complete player that he has a talent to be.
Andrew McCutchen, center fielder, already with a couple of home runs. He homered in Game 1 of this series off of Kyle Lohse on a pitch that was really not all that bad. It was in, but he was able to open up his hips and drive it out of the ballpark.
The oddity of that, it was supposed to be a sinker away. It stayed up, and it was inside. And he hit it into the visitors' bullpen here. Pitch like that, you would think that he probably would have jerked it foul. But it almost appeared like he was looking for that pitch there, looking for a fastball, looking for something up, and his swing did not dictate looking for the sinker away, which it wasn't there.
They shade him to pull just a bit in center field with Rasmus. 2 balls and 1 strike. 4 RBIs already for McCutchen on the young year.
In the spring training, McCutchen really worked on trying to pull the ball more. So maybe that's why a little change in the defense, and they're shading left field.
Pujols holding it first. That's Walker, the runner there. The 2-1 pitch. Saw Gerald Laird throw out McCutchen last night. And we got a look at the new backup catcher with an outstanding throw to second.
And also looked like he handled the catching duties very well, calling a nice game for Kyle McClellan, who was outstanding.
A 2-2 pitch. Reaching for it. That'll carry out to Colby for out number 2. Almost snuck over Colby Rasmus.
Almost took off on him, didn't it? Just looked like a nice little routine ball. Looked like he had a beat on it, very comfortable, and then the last second about 3 steps back and really had to reach up to haul it in.
So 2 down. The cleanup man is Lyle Overbay. Homered in the first with 2 outs in the ballgame last night off McClellan. And you mentioned a very good point. The fact that McClellan, and guys in the field were talking about it during batting practice, was able to get through the 6 innings. They didn't take him out a little bit earlier. He got through 6.
So important, and I think that Tony La Russa really the vote of confidence, but really in order for Kyle to be an effective starter, he has to go 6 and 6+. It just the bullpen falls into place when they only have to account for 9 outs. When you start having to do 12 outs, then it puts a burden on the relief corps.
Overbay with that home run and 3 RBIs and hitting .278 quickly. No balls and 2 strikes.
And remember, he went back out there in the 6th inning after hitting in the 5th. So they could have pinch hit in the 5th inning for him.
Get a look at the signals here from Molina.
Fastball in.
It's his spot, but doesn't get the call. Home plate umpire is Paul Newert. Doug Eddings at first. Dana DeMuth at second. Kerwin Danley over at third.
All right, that to me, in the 70s, that was a definite strike. He wanted it further inside, but still, that's a good pitch. Strike zone has gotten so tight and so small.
Let's see if this is the cutter. It is, and a ground ball. Couple of hops to second. Schumacher is there. Pirates strand a man. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. Day baseball here on Fox Sports Midwest. moments ago, just outside Busch Stadium. Temperatures are ideal. And let's take a look at the Cardinals lineup. Theriot, Rasmus, and Pujols, followed by Berkman, Craig, and Schumacher, Molina, Descalso, and Chris Carpenter. Over 6 years of Major League service for Kevin Correa. And he is 1-0 in his 6 innings of work on opening day at Wrigley Field. He's been with San Francisco, San Diego a year ago. He was 10-10, and now in his first season with the Buccos.
Signed him to a 2-year contract as a rare free agent signing for the Pirates. They need somebody to eat up some innings, a little veteran. He's 30 years of age now. Teach their younger pitchers.
Well, that is so important, isn't it, Al? As you get a guy that can not only eat up innings, take some of that workload off the bullpen, but teach the younger staff.
Absolutely. Doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but he knows how to pitch. He'll work on both sides of the plate.
Theriot pops it up, shallow right, and Walker makes the catch. Defense behind Correa today. Tabata in left, McCutchen and Jones in center and right. Alvarez, Rodriguez on the left side of the infield, Walker, Overbay on the right side. And our battery today, Kevin Correa and Ryan Domit. That's presented by Dobbs. Clint Hurdle. Can't miss prospect, right?
Oh, man, I was with the Royals that spring, 78, when he was the Sports Illustrated phenom. And he was only 20 years of age. Very difficult situation because Whitey Herzog had gotten into a feud with John Mayberry.
Slowly hit to first. Overbay takes it himself, 2 away.
And Whitey made an ultimatum to ownership. It's either John goes or I go. He was in spring training. They traded big John Mayberry, the big power hitter, first baseman. And then they told Clint, okay, he was an outfielder, line drive hitter. You have to not only learn at 20 years of the age a new position, first base, but now instead of being a line drive hitter to all fields, you have to be a power hitter. And he really struggled for a couple of years, but overall has had a very, very nice major league career, and he's become a very good manager.
Pujols rips it just foul.
Well, isn't that nice just to hear that sound again? Yeah. Coming off the bat of Pujols as he hits the ball hard. He's still feeling for it. She said he got a couple RBIs yesterday. The game winner was a little dribbler through the left side, but he'll be the first to tell you he's not quite right.
Pulls it foul again. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
The other day, looking at the video, which he's always doing, and he felt like he found a little flaw, and hopefully, just having a little positive results of yesterday. Just a dribbler that's a game winner. Sacrifice fly. Let's see him start becoming the Albert Pujols of old.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Right now with Holiday out, a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Pujols to produce.
And that's a great point, but you can't do more than you're capable. And one of the signs of maybe he's trying to do too much is his walks are way down.
On 1-2. 2-2.
So pitches like that, you feel the pressure. You've got to shoulder so much of the offense, which he does anyway, that you feel like you've got to expand your strike zone, and you get yourself out more times than the pitcher does.
On 2-2. Full count. Berkman on deck. Matt Holliday, we're hoping that we may see him this weekend in San Francisco.
I think it's a real possibility. He must have felt good after yesterday's extended workout because he did much the same today.
Called third strike. Pujols is out. And Correa has his first strikeout of the afternoon. No score after an inning of play. In the blue shirt, right behind our graphic, and there is Andy Pettitte, the former Yankee and Astro who just recently retired. We would assume he is a guest of Lance Berkman's here today, and some believe he is headed to the Hall of Fame.
Make a strong case for him for what he's done and all the World Series appearances and wins.
And he played in New York.
Played in New York. That's well, that's how you get the World Series so many times. But and you know, it was a late decision for him to retire. Just felt like he didn't have that fire in the belly anymore.
He was a part of 7 American League pennant-winning teams with the Yankees, 1 National League pennant-winning team, 5 World Series championship teams, won 20 games a couple of times.
He end up with the most wins in postseason.
He and Smoltz are right there, and I think Pettitte is still one ahead.
Yeah.
First half of last year, he was 11-2, and then he got hurt and finished the season 11-3, and his ERA was 3.28 in the American League East.
Yeah.
You wonder if he'll have a phone call or two before this season is through, in particular maybe from the Yankees.
Well, they tried to twist his arm and obviously offered him a nice contract to come back, but he just said, you know, I don't have the competitive juices.
A base hit by Alvarez, and Ryan Doumit will be the hitter. Doumit is 2 for 5. And batting .250 this year. Short lead at first by Alvarez. And that pitch is taken for a strike. How about that? .316 average for Doumit. A couple of home runs. You don't see that very often against Chris Carpenter.
I will bet, other than the 2 home runs, that really those hits really didn't amount to much. You know, Carpenter is that wily veteran. Now here he's got a leadoff single, but many times, you know, it's kind of, you know, get a guy out, especially concentrate hard on that first guy, then it makes your job. You may get a hit or two, or you know, you don't walk too many, but they don't score.
0-2 is in the dirt. Ball and 2 strikes. Doumit is making a case that it hit him, but to no avail to Paul Neward, our home plate umpire.
Now Clint's coming out here.
Did not hit him. Did it hit his knee?
I had my head down, so I didn't see.
And it looks like Clint Hurdle is saying, why not check with the other umpires? Take a look at the front knee.
Change direction.
Yeah, it looked like it did get him.
You know, just right on the kneecap ever so slightly. You got to be a better actor. You got to act a little sooner. Fall down. Start screaming.
Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Want the cutter, didn't want the fastball, curveball.
And he gets the curveball and strikes out. Now going back to this pitch, Molina will ask for it down, and he gets it there.
But before then, he signaled inside and then down. But I like the result, and I like the location down and away much better.
First strikeout for Carpenter this afternoon. And just going back to Andy Pettitte for just a moment. Pettitte, you have Rivera, Jeter, and Jorge Posada. You know, those 4 were really the core of that great run, and 3 of the 4, amazingly, are still doing it.
Yeah, it is amazing that, you know, now Posada's become more of a DH personality, but they really are doing you know, playing a long time and still very competitive, feeding off of each other, I'm sure.
Derek Jeter is now under 70 hits shy for 3,000 in his career.
Albert is like 8 hits shy of 2,000.
Right. Garrett Jones with 1 home run this year, a solo shot to account for his lone RBI. Ground ball, little bouncer to second. Schumacher goes to first, gets the out. Talking the other night that Schumacher was telling me that's his toughest play right there. That and also coming in on the slow rollers at second base. But to make the adjustment going to his left, and this was one that was pretty much an easy decision for him to go to first, but do you spin and throw to second? Do you try to swing your hips open and go to second? He said trying to make that adjustment and decision on the fly has been very tough.
Been tough, but as you said, he made the right decision there and showed great range as he got there. Then took that little extra step to get his body under control. Realized it was not worth it. It would have been too tough of a play to reverse direction, throw to second base. You've got to get one, and it was tough enough to get Jones at first base. So he made the right decision and showed good range.
This is Josh Rodriguez, a Rule 5 pickup from Cleveland. In the big leagues for the first time in his career. He was with Columbus a year ago and hit .293 in 86 games.
He had 12 home runs at AAA, 1 at AA. Not very big, slider frame. We saw him a little bit in yesterday's game.
Check swing. Did not go. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Normally, when you're facing a pitcher, any pitcher, the advantage is to the pitcher. You know, when you're a young player and the first time facing up here, the advantage is the pitcher because he knows, he may not know you, but he knows what his strengths are. And you should always pitch to your strengths. When you got a guy like Carpenter, you don't ever want to give up a first big league hit to a guy.
2 balls and a strike. You know his heart is beating fast at the plate. His first major league at bat, Josh Rodriguez.
And very few times can a good ball club carry a Rule 5 guy. But bad clubs, they don't have that many talented players, so they have the luxury of keeping a young player maybe a year before he's ready. And you have to keep him all year long or offer him back to the club you drafted from, in this case Cleveland.
First year for Tony La Russa in St. Louis, they had Miguel Mejia, Rule 5 pickup with great speed.
I remember Tom Pagnazzi. The Cardinals went to postseason that year. Tom Pagnazzi said, "Kid, when you get this bonus check, you save it because it'll be the last one you get."
And it was. Cardinals also a couple of years ago carried Brian Barton. It was a Rule 5 pickup. Hector Luna was another one. 3-2 pitch. Got him. Strikeout. And the second in the inning, second in the afternoon for Chris Carpenter. Berkman leads it off when we come back. St. Louis, and a beautiful day for baseball here on Fox Sports Midwest, and our keys to the game are presented by Toyota. This is since 2010. Cardinals scored 3 or fewer runs. They are 11-59. 4 or more, 77-20. So it's the largest difference in winning percentage in the major leagues of .637. And our Toyota keys to the game.
It's very simple. You score 4 runs, you usually win. And yet, the Cardinals in all 5 games have scored 3 runs or less. And they're 2-3. So, I mean, it's not as bad as it seems.
Berkman pulls it foul.
And he's swinging the bat a lot better. He
sure
had a
is.
couple, even his strikeout last night was a good at bat. And then he hit a ball very hard to left field that lined out right after Albert got the little bleeder through the left side for the game winner. But I think he's starting to ease a lot of the concerns people had about his bat.
Well, we showed you Andy Pettitte spent time with Houston, and Lance Berkman 12 years with the Astros. He's the only Astro, along with Jeff Bagwell, to have 5 30 home run seasons. Out in front, pops it up. Shallow center, McCutchen calling off the shortstop Rodriguez and puts it away for the first out.
Hi, Sky. You better use those sunglasses today. And as you said, he's out in front. You know, the timing mechanism is off on a lot of the guys, and there was an example, a little bit of movement, and you don't have that weight transfer.
Here is Alan Craig. This day and age, you have to have young players that step up, that you draft and that you develop. And Craig is an 8th round selection back in 2006. You know, for instance, in talking about Houston, Drew Stubbs is a guy that Houston had drafted, and they allowed him, over a squabble of the contract, to go to college. He went to Texas and then eventually taken by Cincinnati. And now he's an everyday center fielder with great speed as Craig is retired.
Definitely. He's very intriguing because not only does Drew Stubbs have great speed, but he has that power too.
John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM, watching today.
That win yesterday eased a lot of things around the front office. I'm a little concerned right now about San Francisco because they're not winning. Cardinals are going to go there, and you know you're going to run up against good pitching.
Schumacher, a 5th round selection, 2001. Little did he know, or did he think, that he'd be playing second base in the major leagues. He had done it in high school and in college, base hit into right. And at that time, he was a shortstop, but then had moved to the outfield. Very good, strong arm, good speed, and now finding a home here in St. Louis at second base.
Skip, the first couple of years, first 3 years, he was a 300 hitter. Got off to a horrible start last season, but he hit very well in spring training, and he's carrying it over into the regular season. And Skip, you know, you just love him to death that he cares. Really takes on so much responsibility, but at times you got to tell him to back off. So nice that he's off to the good start. He can relax.
Here's Molina, another homegrown product, a 4th round pick by the Cardinals in 2000. We forget that you go back to 2004. That's when he made his major league debut. He's been around a while now. He split time with Mike Matheny on that championship team, and then became the everyday catcher. Since that time, he's won 3 consecutive Gold Gloves. Mike Matheny did that, not consecutively, but won 3. Tom Pagnazzi in 91, 93, and 94.
Molina probably should have won another 1 or 2 before he did start this string of 3 consecutive.
1 ball, 1 strike. Yanni on the year, slow start, hitting 133, no home runs and 2 RBIs. Outfield is straight away.
Shade him a little bit. He hit the ball to right field, but he usually doesn't drive the ball real far to right. He just kind of making contact, plugging that hole in the right side.
Get the feeling that Garrett Jones in right field may be a little bit too deep for Molina. A lot of his base hits, the variety of just dunking it over the second baseman and dropping in front of that right fielder. The 2-1 pitch.
Correa threw 145 innings last season and gave up 20 home runs, which seems a very high total with your home games being in San Diego.
Spacious ballpark of Petco. The 3-1. 3-2. Descalso is on deck if Yachty can extend the inning.
Correa did have a very personal tragedy that was very tough for him last season, as his younger brother was tragically killed in an accident. It's tough for anyone to deal with, but you forget these baseball players are human. They have the same problems everyone else has.
Breaking ball misses inside, and the Cardinals have their first walk. We talked about it during the open, but Pittsburgh had 6 walks that they gave the Cardinals last night, and one of those came around to score.
And talking again today with personnel with the Cardinals, first game started, Charlie Morton walked 5, but Dave Duncan said it should have been 15. Cardinals were very poor in making adjustments to that inside cutter, or excuse me, inside sinker that just exploded on the inside but was always a ball.
Now it's Descalso getting a start today at third base. First pitch popped up. It is playable for Domet. Makes the catch. The on deck circle right in front of Chris Carpenter. The Redbirds strand 2. No score after 2 here at Busch. Roll to the top of the third here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin, and Jim Hayes has joined us, and fighting that high sky, Domet came up with that catch off the bat of Descalso for the third and final out. So Carpenter back to work. He'll deal with Kevin Correa, Tabata, the top of the order, and Walker. If anybody can reach, then Andrew McCutchen. First pitch taken for a strike by Correa. Jim, one of the guys that you had a chance to visit with was Kyle Lohse. And Lohse is Correa. Hits it in the air to left, and Craig is there. But Lohse was very, very good in game 1 of this series.
Yeah, and as things went well for him health-wise in terms of his ability to get the pitches to do what he wanted, he wasn't necessarily happy with the result. In that first start of his, he really cruised through 5 innings, gave up 4 runs in the 6th, a couple of bad pitches. He's pleased that he felt good, but he expects better results. So for him, it was a bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, mixed bag, but bottom line is healthy, kept the ball low, couple of mistakes in 4 pitches in that span of about 90 seconds, and that's the difference in the game.
But Al, you'd agree with that it's kind of nice when you see Kyle Lohse trying to bounce back from that surgery. He hadn't regained the form that he lost along the way. Pretty good results, but not happy with that 6th inning. Even though everything else went well, he wants to win the game for his team.
You know, it's kind of delicate. How do you describe it?
There's a base hit into left center field on an 0-2 pitch.
And I agree with exactly what you said. But, I mean, it's delicate for him to say because he is elated that he didn't have the problem with the form and he didn't have the fatigue syndrome because he came back after that 6th inning pitch very well.
You can head to FoxSportsMidwest.com for each night's post-game press conference with Tony La Russa. Also, we'll post the player interviews. FoxSportsMidwest.com for all your Cardinal news. BJ Raines will have his daily articles and notebook on the team, so head to FoxSportsMidwest.com.
So you try to, cover up a little bit of your, excited of how you felt because you did give up 4 runs in 7 innings. But it was only 4 pitches, and I'll tell you, most of the time when you make that few mistakes, you don't get burned as bad as he did, in giving up 4 runs. And really only made 2 mistakes. A pitch they got up to Walker that was for a opposite field. It doubled down the left field line that it was supposed to be down, and it got up away, and he just punched it that way. And then it was a down and away sinker to McCutchen that went up and in, and he hit for the 2-run home run. But I thought he pitched very, very well, and there was so many pluses in that outing for him to take with him, and he'll be real excited to get on that mound again.
And obviously, without Wainwright at the front of the rotation, it adds importance to the other guys as you go down the rest of the rotation. And the Cardinals are going to need a good season from Kyle Lohse.
And more. But I really think, and Dan and I talked a little bit about last night, you can't really place Adam Wainwright. But if you can, they've done the best job of it. Starting pitching still is the strength of this ball club. It's not as much as a strength when you don't have Adam. But trust me, they still are going to put a quality arm out there that you expect. As we just said, they haven't scored more than 3 runs in any of the 5 games, and they've already won 2 games. So they're not the team that's going to win every night 3-2, but they are very capable of every time that starter takes a mound, he's going to give his team a chance to win.
Certainly McClellan did his part last night, getting his first start. Guy coming out of the bullpen. People forget he pitched great in his bid to become a starter last spring training.
Runner goes on 3-1. Schumacher, a diving stop, takes the hit away. And in doing so, Tabata has to stay put at second base. Nice job by Schumacher.
Very nice. Second nice play, Schu going to his left. This one hit harder and a little bit closer to him, but he still had to dive and then get up, and he has an exceptional throwing arm.
And it's up to Andrew McCutchen, the third place hitter, who flied to center. First time up, he's 0 for 1. I think all fans in watching McClellan last night and Lohse the night before feel a little bit better about this rotation after seeing what they saw the last 2 nights.
And it's a carryover what they both did in spring training.
Exactly.
Both were the best 2 starters in spring training. And Dan, I know your answer to this, and Jim, you can contribute to it, but I don't think it was a surprise to us.
I wasn't.
Exactly.
You and I, Al, were talking in that final spring training game, and again, you miss Wainwright. There is no sugarcoating that, but this rotation is better than most believe going into the season. And we're around it every day. We have a chance to see it. But it all hinges on health. Carpenter's got to make his 25 to 30 starts, and the same thing can be said for Lohse and for McClellan.
And when you've got...
There's a grounder left side. Descalso to his left. Fires to first. And they got him. Carpenter will lead it off when we come back. A couple of diving stops in the infield in this inning. Schumacher and then Descalso. for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Correa back to work. Underway here in the bottom of the third, and there's no score in St. Louis.
One of the things that they like about Correa is he's not fearful of the matchup against Carpenter or the best pitchers in the league. You know, he'll just take the ball, and whoever he's pitching against the other team's offense, not their starting pitcher.
Nice crowd on hand here today. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's still filling up. And Chris hits it in the air to center field. McCutchen. 1 away. Host your next party at the ballpark and leave the entertaining to us. Party suites include a fully catered, all-inclusive menu, plus a great view of the game. And party suites are great for groups of 30 or more. Book yours today at Cardinals.com. Today we had $5 seats as a part of dynamic pricing. Field box $17, and Legends Club, which includes all your food and beverages, for just $50. And again, we stress to folks, make sure you head to the Cardinals website. You can see the grid of dynamic pricing for some of the best deals all season long.
And kind of a new little twist, this little earlier starting time. April, May, and September on these getaway days, these Thursdays, 12:45 rather than the 1:15 that you're accustomed to, and maybe will happen a little once you get into June, July, and August.
Ryan Theriot popped out to second. His first time up. No balls and 2 strikes on the Cardinal leadoff man. He was on base 3 times in game 2.
Theriot not only has been a .284 major league hitter, but he always has pretty good on base percentage throughout his major league career.
Jim, I know you had a chance to visit with Jake Westbrook. We did not talk about him and what he means to the club. He was roughed up in his first start.
Boy, if there's a guy eager to get back out there, it's Jake. His first start of the season, didn't really have command, and he said he's working on some things to lock back in. And he said the hardest thing when you're a starting pitcher, especially to open the season, is your first start, to have one that you're not happy with. It sits there, and it's tough, so he's eager to get back out there.
2 hops to second, Walker to first.
Jake knows that for him to be successful, it's all about control, coaxing ground balls.
Pitch out of way, you want to go with that pitch. You hit it hard, but when it's relatively down, you usually hit it on the ground. And you know, I thought Westbrook, watching him a couple times in spring training, he just elevated the ball, and it was around the plate a little too much. Then on the game on Saturday, you probably tried to overcorrect it, try and get the ball down, and he had so much movement on it, he couldn't control it in the strike zone, or it wasn't even close enough to get teams to go after his borderline pitches. But I don't think anybody worries about, over the course of the season, his control.
1 ball, 1 strike on Colby Rasmus. He grounded out to first in his first plate appearance. And Westbrook re-signed with the club right away. Wasn't much thought process in going into free agency as Colby hits it out to left. Pretty well hit, top it up back, and makes the catch. Jim will stick around for the top of the 4th. Couple more items to get to. Overbay, Alvarez, and Doman coming up for the Buccos. Carpenter back to work, and the first pitch was a strike to Lyle Overbay, the cleanup man for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Overbay, Alvarez, and Domit. Ground ball right side. Backhanded by Pujols, and he threw it away. That'll be an error on Pujols.
Bad judgment there. We know Albert ranges further to his right than any first baseman, but that was an obvious one. He takes it out of the glove of Schumacher. A very easy play for him. And so not only the error, but compounds it by trying to correct it, and makes a ill-advised decision to throw the ball when you're almost completely on your back. And for some reason they give it a base hit and an error, and it shouldn't have been that way. Second baseman makes that just so routine.
Yeah. So Overbay is aboard at second base. And here's Pedro Alvarez. Singled his first time up. Threat now for the Pirates here in the fourth.
Albert very close to 1,000 assists.
Trying to get the dirt out of the glove.
Two-time Gold Glove winner now. Won it again last season.
There's the 0-1 pitch. This is outside. Jim Hayes is stuck around with us. And Jim, you had a chance to visit with Alan Craig in particular about the left fielder's off-season.
Well, you recall last year he made the team out of spring training, struggled offensively in the early going as he had to adjust to not getting a steady diet of at-bats. Now with Holiday being out, he's getting at-bats and he's producing. He thinks he's learned a lot from having to deal with it last year.
Big out here as Alvarez is not able to advance the runner.
And something that he did differently in the offseason, he stays out in California. He would make an hour-long drive, did it about 10 times to go work with Mark McGwire. He'd get in a car with Skip, and they'd go spend some time with Mark working on some things. And Craig said one of the things he's really trying to do is kind of shorten the stroke a little bit. And he said McGwire has been really good about helping him try to do that.
He learned that people were exposing him inside, and so they've tried to really work on that. It's paid off. Also, his body's gotten bigger. You know, he's much stronger in the upper body, and I really like it that Tony, which you initially would have thought if Berkman wasn't here, that was going to be a platoon between Jay and Alan Craig, and with so many more right-handers that Alan wouldn't get much playing time. But he's been using him almost exclusively out there. And I think, it's like you said, we knew he could hit if he played every day. But he found that being on the bench and only getting a bat or two a week, that he was, he just didn't know how to do that. And he went back to the minor leagues and crushed the ball.
Just saw we circled Lance Berkman. That's about the deepest we have seen him play so far. He is very, very deep in right field. You would figure base hit to right, and that would score Overbay.
Little looping breaking ball well outside. First base is open. Demonstrated that Doman has had some success against Carpenter, so he's going to make him hit his pitch.
3-1.
Many times Cardinals outfielders play extremely deep under orders. Jim Edmonds always resisted that because he felt like he could come and take away so many base hits in front of him.
There's a line drive shot. It'll be 1-0 Pittsburgh. Overbay will score. Berkman over to cut it off, and that'll be a double. Playing that deep out there, and Doman in there safely at second base. So on a 3-1 pitch, Doman makes it 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Now that is the advantage of playing so deep. You can get over and cut that ball off. He slides to stop the ball, but it didn't change matters. It was going to be a double either way. Another pitch that's up, out over the plate. So even when he kicks it here, it didn't change the scoring. It was going to be a double and an RBI double.
That error by Pujols comes back to haunt the Cardinals. And a ball that he probably would tell you now that he should have let go. And in steps Jones, who is grounded out to second. 1-0 Pittsburgh, and again the Cardinals will have to play catch-up. Been doing that an awful lot here in the first week. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You would think with the guys that the Cardinals can put in the lineup, they will be better offensively, but everything is so magnified early on in the season because it's a small sample size. And I was talking to Lance Berkman about that. He said he's been on teams that got off to a great start where maybe they weren't as good as the start that they had would indicate, and he said it's the same thing if you get off to a slow start.
Well, that's like we've touched on it in this series, that a club like the Pirates, you really don't want to play a bad ball club early in the season because they're under new management. They all have a new enthusiasm. They think that they can compete. They can stop this 18-year losing streak. So they don't realize that they aren't that good yet. They've got a lot of talent, but early in the season they believe they're much better than they actually are. So they can be a lot more of a handful than they will be later on in the season.
Last pitch was at 95 by Carpenter, and already at 59 pitches on the afternoon, 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, to further that point, you've got Baltimore in the American League East. They're 4-0. Boston is 0-4. And many believe the best team, not just in the East, but in all of baseball, the Boston Red Sox. Winless so far this year. 2-2. Got him.
Somebody told me Tampa Bay's only scored 6 runs.
Manny Ramirez 1 hit. He was booed last night. Join Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association in helping Japan's children in need. Visit unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 to donate $10. Standard text messaging and transactional fees apply. For more information, visit MLB.com/Japan Relief.
I had a great talk with Mark McGuire and how he's always so positive, particularly with the young hitters, emphasizing that it's 6 months. You can't get 10 hits in 1 at bat. So stay even keel. Try and have good bats. Even when you make some outs, if you have good at bats and you stay up there and foul off several tough pitches, even if you strike out, it still in his mind was a good at bat, like Berkman last night. But you just, if you have good at bats and you make solid contact, remember Berkman hit the line drive to left. You can't get mad at that. He just didn't have luck with it. But the more you have good at bats over the course of 6 months, you'll get your reward.
Same thing, I guess, Al. When you pitched, guys hit pitches that went exactly as you had planned, and they just hit a good pitch.
Good point.
Isn't that the same thing?
Yes.
It's just the mental aspect.
Sometimes you throw a pitch and you release it and you cringe because you know, oh, I just blew this save. This guy hit a home run, and he swings through it or he pops it up. You can't be patting yourself on the back because you made a mistake and you didn't get away with it. There's other times where you mentally say, I want to throw this pitch exactly in this spot. You do so, and the guy gets a base hit. Well, you can't beat yourself up. You got to pay tribute to the guy and say, okay, this at bat, he was better than I. More revenge for the next time I face him. But you've got to stay even keel. And you do what you want to do, and you don't get good results. You know, hey, give the guy credit and don't, but just know that over the course of time, you'll win.
Back-to-back strikeouts. Jim, we'll see you on the postgame. Hotel that gives you home field advantage. Visit HiltonSt.Louis.com to book your Cardinals ticket package. It's coming this summer, the new 360 rooftop. Cardinals trail by a run as we move to the Redbirds half of the fourth. There's a look at Nick Punto. And Punto will head to Florida when the Cardinals leave for their West Coast swing. And he could begin playing extended spring games as early as Monday. And we were down on the field, Al, and we saw him working out and running and sliding into second base. So that's good to see that Punto is starting to get healthy.
It really is. And I was talking to him the other day specifically about a timetable. Initially it was 8 to 12 weeks, and he's going to make sure it's the 8 weeks. But he may even be slightly ahead of that schedule. Remember, he's had no spring training, though.
1 ball, 1 strike on Albert Pujols. Pujols was called out on strikes his first time up on a 3-2 pitch on the outside corner. Didn't like the call.
Laid off a couple outside pitches, but I think the strikeout pitch truly was a strike.
The 2-1. Off the middle, base hit.
Just trying the ball up a little bit and hits it hard right back through the middle.
Can I put you on the spot?
Yes, sir. I love it, partner, when you put me on the spot.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Do I have to answer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Your gut feeling. We haven't talked about it one time since opening day. You're around this team day in and day out, and we don't know the inner workings of what may happen with Albert Pujols, but fans talk about it. They're always curious about his future. There isn't a day I've come to the ballpark that someone hasn't asked us, what do you think is going to happen with Albert Pujols?
And, you know, it's surprising that we really have not talked about it. I think in fairness to all parties, that it's a foregone conclusion that he is going to become a free agent. He's been told he's the best player in the game.
And this could be 2. Out at second, out at first, double play.
And, you know, as the best player in the game, you know, he wants to be compensated close to that. He loves playing here in St. Louis. He knows that, you know, he's right there at the icons with Stan and Red and Gibby and Lou and Ozzie, all the great players in the history, and rightfully so. It's a business decision, and I'm not saying that he's going to go to the highest dollar. I'm not saying that at all. But I think he's going to find out what his market value is, and then he'll weigh the Cardinals. I think it will be a very legitimate, but an offer that they've got to. You can't have Albert Pujols and Holiday for the next 5 years and nobody around them. You know, Molina has to get paid. Carpenter and Wainwright, you know, have options on their contract. You know, Kyle McClellan keeps on what he's doing like this. Is going to be, you know, Schumacher's the last year of his deal. So you've got to think of the total payroll for this Cardinal club. And even by Albert's own admission, he says, you know, it's not about money, it's about winning. So by that token, he cannot, you know, you just can't put the highest tag on him or salary figure out there and still have a competitive team around him. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he'll be a free agent. I worry that somebody might blow him out of the water. Would it be the revenge of Lou Brock if he goes to Chicago? Pena has a 1-year contract as their first baseman. It seems like the Yankees have Teixeira, and they're there. You got Gonzalez with Boston, but I wouldn't put anything past the Yankees.
No.
And, you know, do you because of Ortiz getting up there, do you see become a DH in Boston? The Angels were another team that spends money. They were second to Crawford and to Worth this past year. And I don't know if you caught anything or saw anything today, but the Dodgers, there's a possibility that the ownership is becoming settled as the divorce in the McCords. And right now they're trying to negotiate a $3 billion contract with Fox.
I did see that.
$3 billion. So the Dodgers, when the ownership
was in flux, and you didn't know if you had to sell a ball club because of the feud of the owners' divorce. But if you 300 billion or 3 billion will solve a lot of problems, won't it?
It sure will.
And guess where his agent's at?
Good old L.A.
Good old L.A. He broke away from the Beverly Hills Sports Council last year, so obviously he wants to make a splash, and that would be Albert Pujols signing.
And you're talking about his agent, Dan Lozano. 2 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs and a runner at first, and Schumacher singled his first time up.
And I have tremendous respect for both sides of making this private and not letting things eke out. One trying to make the other side look bad. It's a professional negotiations. Cardinals understand this is his wishes. They have honored, to keep silent. And I think we all say that he's going to become a free agent, and we'll find out then. I don't think just because he becomes a free agent doesn't mean he won't be back. And I think if somebody doesn't make it just an absolutely crazy offer, I think the Cardinals' offers would be competitive enough to where he would stay.
Runner goes, throw to second, safe. Stolen base for Alan Craig.
That's 2 already for Craig, his first 2 in the major leagues.
Well, when you don't score runs, and right now the Cardinals are not doing that. We've talked about it last year and again here in the first week. You have to generate some type of offense, and maybe this is one way to do it.
Well, and it's also, Domit, and I don't mean to pick on him because you saw the career numbers he has against Pujols, and he delivered and hurt him in today's game. I mean, against Carpenter. But last season, and it's not all Ryan's throwing, because pitchers, they have to do a lot of things to help him out, but he had the worst throwing percentage in the National League a year ago. So anytime you get a chance, if a guy gets a jump, he's going to be taken off.
A 3-2 pitch to Schumacher. He could tie it up. Pulls it foul again. A couple of pitches in this at bat have been up, and Skip has been able to put a pretty good swing on it. He's 5 for 11 against Correa.
Well, Mark McGwire said that Correa will move the ball around to both sides of the plate, but he will give you enough pitches that are up over the middle of the plate that you should be able to hit hard or at least drive that ball. Then you'll take your chances.
The 3-2 pitch again to Skip Schumacher on its way. Fly ball slicing down the left field line. Long way to go, and it's out of play. I don't know if you saw this. Adam Dunn with appendicitis. It's going all over baseball. So he'll miss some time with the Chicago White Sox.
You ever have appendicitis?
I have not. Thank goodness. Knock on wood.
I had mine taken out 3 weeks before I started our first high school game in my senior year. Way back to when they did major surgery, and mine ended up with a 12-inch scar.
Is that right?
As it was not where it was supposed to be. It had grown up and was trapped between a couple of organs, and they had to pull it out of there.
And with that, we had to break. Ouch. 1-0 Buccos. Andy Pettitte is in the house here today, and Jim had a chance to catch up with the former Yankee and Astro. And Jim, what's his connection to St. Louis here today?
Well, as you know, former teammates with Lance Berkman. They're still close friends. So Andy Pettitte is a guest of Lance today. Now, Andy, I talked to him, but he did not want to go on camera, just wanted to enjoy the game. And I said, fair enough.
And what did he have to say about Lance here in St. Louis?
Well, I told him, I said, you know, in St. Louis, people are very excited to have Berkman, but there are questions whether or not he still has gas left in the tank, and can he play defense in the outfield on a game-to-game basis. And he said he has never seen Berkman in this kind of shape. He never saw him work as hard as he did in the offseason to get into shape. And Pettitte says, I wouldn't bet against him having a huge year.
What about his thoughts on the Cardinals?
He thinks the Cardinals are a very good team. He thinks it's loaded. The Cardinals are loaded with dangerous hitters, including Lance Berkman. And he thinks they're going to be very competitive this year.
All right, Jim, good job. Thanks. Here's Correa, the pitcher. Doesn't chase. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Dan, many times, you know, we have a tendency to look at, okay, the offense is sputtering. Yeah, you got some great hitters, but, you know, do you have enough firepower in the low end of the order? You got some questions down there in the bullpen. Can you replace McClellan's innings? Is Boggs and Mott going to take the next step? They're very talented hard throwers, but are they going to progress? You know, a lot of little things. But we know, but we always say this is going to be a very competitive team.
Berkman puts it away for the first out here in the top of the 5th. And fans.
It's a new beer filler, and actually it's you can fill the beers faster. They say that also you get a more scientific beer head on the glass. It's something they really started here at the ballpark, and actually you can fill beers a lot quicker with that, a better pour. It's kind of a novelty, but it's really, you know, makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure if a St. Louisan didn't design that.
I'm dumbfounded.
I heard they're so rare that you just rarely can find anybody that would have one.
0-2 the count here on Tabata. Check swing and a foul ball. You know, going back to Berkman for a moment, in visiting with him yesterday, he was saying, Al, that this feels like home already for him.
Yeah.
You know, it's been 1 week of a regular season, but yet this is where he says it just feels like home.
Well, you know, have 12 years playing very competitive baseball, some of the best rivalry. You know, it was an unusual rivalry between the Cardinals and Houston, as the teams were so respectful of each other.
A swing and a miss, and a strikeout, number 5.
So I think every time Berkman ever came to St. Louis, it was always a fun experience, not only competing, but, you know, being received well.
Well, tickets are going fast for the weekend against the Cincinnati Reds. That's when we come back off the road trip. And on Friday night, there's fireworks. On Saturday, there is the Edward Jones statue of Hall of Famer Red Schoendienst. And then on Sunday, the bobblehead of Stan the Man, first ever of its kind, the Stan Musial bobblehead on Sunday. So giveaways and promotional nights for the weekend against Cincinnati. And all you have to do is head to Cardinals.com to get your tickets. I'm not sure that you need promotional nights in that weekend, because that is a fun weekend considering how Cincinnati has started, the bad blood of a year ago. Should be a great weekend here at the ballpark.
Well, I think it's a great win-win for the fans, because
Absolutely.
they're going to see a real fun, very competitive series, and then to have 3 tremendous giveaways at the same time. Like I said, you'll be standing room only for those games.
1-2 the count.
And how about the nice addition with the color on the numbers out there for the Hall of Famers? They stand out a lot more prominent now.
Foul tip, and that caught our home plate umpire. It's on the left field wall that you're talking about, Al.
And kind of a cute commercial that the Cardinals did as part of their their
Cardinal Nation spots.
Cardinal Nation spots where, Berkman's trying to figure out what number to pick. Starts going 1, 2, 6, nothing. Wainwright has to tell him, no, that's Ozzie, that's Red, that's Stan, that's Slaughter, that's Boyer. And then finally goes, well, how about 85? Thinking, who's to have 85? That's Gussie.
They do a great job with those spots. Players are involved with those and involved with the We Are Cardinal Nation theme all season long.
One thing I really enjoyed is some of the radio spots where the players get involved and you hear their voices and their comments.
Matter of fact, it was Lance Berkman doing that yesterday and Ryan Theriot. Those two guys are excited to be here. I mean, they look at this as being a true blessing, is the way that Lance said it, as Jim Jackson is the radio engineer, puts it all together on KMOX. That is hammered down the right field line, hooking, and that ball is gone. It's a fair ball and a home run for Neil Walker. That's his second hit today and his second home run.
More importantly, his 8th RBI to the young season. He was shut down yesterday, but he's back hitting the ball with authority. Let's look at location. Right down the middle. Inner part, so he's able to turn on it, and just a solid line drive, no doubt, if it stayed fair.
He's been impressive.
He really has. He came up last season. He's a Pittsburgh native. His dad actually was a major league pitcher and spent a little time here in St. Louis. But they're really excited about him. And that's a guy, like you said last night, you're talking about the scout that named 3 guys. And I said, well, you may be missing Walker because he's starting to open some eyes too.
I know you don't remember much from the 70s, nor do you remember Tom, Neil's dad.
His dad. No, I don't.
The 70s for you, Al, were a blur.
Well, 18 or 19.
Hard hit to short off the glove of Theriot. And McCutchen is aboard with a base hit.
You feel bad about that because he was a left-handed reliever.
You should have remembered that. The Blues and Fox Sports Midwest are teaming up for the Coleman St. Louis Race for the Cure. That'll be on June 11th. And all team members are invited to enjoy special pre-race activities, which include a meet and greet with Louis, face painting, music, and more. For more information and to join the St. Louis Blues and Fox Sports Midwest, just head to stlouisblues.com.
Come to think about it, I do think I remember him in September of '72.
And you're being serious now.
Yeah, now I am being serious. As I spent, I spent most of the year at Double-A as I came back from the Army and missed at '71, and got called up. He was at Triple-A, and I got called up in September with him. And
line drive.
There's also
caught.
competition, so you forget about those guys.
I hear you. Molina, Descalso, Carpenter coming up. Walker's added to it, 2-0. this date in baseball history. Albert Pujols back in 2001. Armando Reynoso serves up the first long ball in Albert Pujols' illustrious career. And the Cardinals notch a 12-9 win back in 2001. Albert was talking the other day, and he homered on Saturday, which was the anniversary of when he broke into the big leagues. And the first guy that he ever faced was in Colorado, and that was Mike Hampton. And remember, at that time, the Rockies had signed Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel to those big contracts. In the air to center field, and that'll stay in the ballpark, and Molina flies out to McCutchen. Those ill-fated contracts, too.
Yes.
Here's Descalso, came up with 2 on and popped out to the catcher. Daniel telling me that he is rooming right now with John Jay here in St. Louis. He said you never want to get too comfortable until you're established.
Well, you're right about that. It's just, it used to be the kiss of death. Young guy would buy a house in a town and immediately get traded.
One ball, one strike. So the Cardinals, like you said, Al, it's like a 2-for-1, where Freese was lifted from the ball game yesterday and then off day today, at least at this point, and then a true off day tomorrow before we head to San Francisco.
And Tony was, he was the last guy on that bench when he did play in the major leagues. So he knows that in order to give bench players a fighting chance, you've got to play them a little bit. So you look at the blessing of, if there is a blessing in the injury of Holiday, you get a lot of the bats for Alan Craig. John Jay shown the ability that he can hit coming off the bench, so it's a easy transition. But Tyler Green and Descalso need to get some at bats.
Descalso, fly ball, right field, and a base hit, hustling all the way, and he'll wind up at second base.
Well, Pittsburgh remembers Descalso's second start in the big leagues. He had a big day in the Bird where he got 4 hits. And here, line drive. Jones comes in here, clearly traps the ball, and the umpire ruled it right away that it had gotten down. Descalso not running hard, but he's got the play in front of him, and when the ball gets away, he easily gets to second base, and that's where he would have been.
Now it's a chance for Carpenter to help his own cause.
I remember Descalso and Tyler Green right now, they're on borrowed time until Punto comes down.
Exactly.
Or comes back.
Grounder hit too short. Descalso advancing from second to third, and there may have been a play there with Josh Rodriguez, but playing in his first game.
Yep.
Maybe just get that sure out.
I'm not sure Daniel was thinking that far ahead to know that's a rookie playing his first game, but rule of thumb, don't advance at a ball hit in front of you. And it was hit too hard.
Let's turn to our trivia question here this afternoon. Brought to you by AT&T. When was the last time the Cardinals failed to score more than 3 runs in each of their first 5 games? The AT&T trivia question, you have to go back to 1919.
I think we got off to a 0-8 start that year.
You remember that year fondly, 1919?
Oh, it was my last year in the bigs.
And Al is in year 52 here in the broadcast booth. And this is what, truly year number 27?
27.
Ryan Theriot is 0 for 2. Grounded out to second, popped out to second. Big gap into left center, the 1-0. Breaking ball and a strike.
So I'd like to go on those school programs. We show a little video of the Mad Hungarian, and I said, well, all you kids are too young to know about me, and looking at your teachers, they're too young too.
I bet they appreciate that, though.
Dan, usually you have 30 or 40 teachers sitting there. There's like one will come out. Oh, I remember, but only one.
You and Joe Cunningham and John Mabry do a very good job with that program throughout the schools here in the Midwest. 3-1 Ontario with Colby Rasmus on deck.
Well, wouldn't it be a big lift for this ball club? Get on the scoreboard here with a 2-out base hit.
The 3-1. 3-2.
Correa, as advertised, really just goes out there. Doesn't matter if he's matched up against Carpenter and the great franchise of the St. Louis Cardinals. He just goes about his business and workmanlike fashion, works on both sides of the plate, changes speeds. He'll make a mistake here or two, and that you still have to capitalize on.
3-2 pitch. Upstairs and a walk to Terrio. Again, this is what Clint Hurdle was talking about with you before the game, Al. Young team, and even though Correa is a veteran, you can't have spots like this that come back to haunt you. You extend an inning, and now you get into some of that big lumber of this lineup for St. Louis.
Very good point, because you've got a singles hitter, a guy there probably gave him a little too much credit and tried to make too good of a pitch, where he probably could, if he would have made that same pitch and put it in the middle of the plate and just Terrio hit the ball in the air. He can't hit the ball out. He hits the ball in the air, it's a kiss of death. It's going to come down and feel his glove. Now you get into the thunder, the power guys that can take this lead. Talked about how many walks these Pirates, really the Cardinals really have not taken advantage of all the walks they've seen in this series. And talking to the Pirate broadcasters, they say that they only had one game, the Correa game on opening day, where there was really a well-pitched game. And here we are.
Launches it into deep right. Did he get enough? It's at the wall and caught. Garrett Jones makes the catch against the wall in right field. And the Cardinals still not on the board. It's 2-0. Local Lowe's for savings and a free MLB fan guide. Compliments of Scott's. Along with the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you. We're in St. Louis on a gorgeous afternoon for baseball. And Lau Overbay leads it off against Chris Carpenter. The Pirates with a run in the fourth and a solo home run by Neil Walker in the fifth. And it's 2-0. One-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alvarez hitting .217, no homers and 4 RBIs.
Very talented young man. In 08, he was their #1 draft pick. Great season in collegiate baseball, and really came up less than 200 games in the minor leagues. Talked about he had 64 RBIs last season, but that was only in 95 games.
Breaking ball misses.
Looked pretty good, though, didn't it?
You know, it looked like he caught it on the black, which means it was a breaking ball over the center of the plate.
Across the plate.
The 2-1 pitch. Foul back. Mark Mulder will join ESPN in baseball tonight this season. So he is officially retired from the game. Remember, he tried multiple comebacks, working with Rick Peterson and former pitching coach, and trying to get healthy, just never came back. And so unfortunate, because the Cardinals make that deal, Danny Aaron a part of that, and so much was expected of that big lefty.
That first year, if memory serves me, he won 18 games, but you knew he wasn't healthy. Just give you an indication how talented he was when he was healthy.
Pujols backhands, underhands to Carpenter for the first out here in the top of the 6th. Carpenter in the mid-90s on his pitch count. Correa's at 69.
He's given up 7 hits. He hasn't walked a man. Struck out 5, but a high pitch count for this early in a game than what we're accustomed to seeing.
You would have to think that Tony would like to get Mitchell Boggs into one of these games here very soon, and probably today. He's pitched once in 5 games. Tyler Green is the only hitter on the roster who has not started a game yet.
Right. Very unusual. But then, you know, Tony may be a 2-for-1, say Friday night for Terrio, the off day tomorrow, and then on that 10-day road trip with no off days on it. So Tyler will get his shot in the West Coast trip. Tony trying to nurse along Boggs a little bit. Remember, he slowed a couple weeks with a lower back strain, but you don't get all the hard work and everything you put into spring training. You lose that real quickly if you don't start pitching in games.
Fouled away by Ryan Domit.
And a lot of times, you know, Tony's bullpen will take a few weeks for everyone to settle into their roles. And I think that is more of a case this year than we've seen in the past. I'm not sure he really wants to bring Mott or Boggs into a close ball game right now.
Strikeout. Number 6 today. Cardinals fans, April 19th through the 24th. The Cardinals and the Shoe Man want your shoes. Clean out your closets and drop them off in the designated bags located throughout Busch Stadium. Your donation will help Shoe Man Water Projects create clean drinking water for those in need. For more information, visit cardinals.com/greenweek.
Don't you remember you did an interview with Shoe Man last year?
And I believe that was a friend of Carol Buck's. Is that correct?
Yes, Carol Buck, and he really has done some remarkable work around the world. And I mean, he takes like 300,000 shoes and turns that into building dikes for water. You know, and like now Haiti, I think, is his biggest progress or project.
Jones with a base hit in the right with 2 outs here in the top of the 6th.
I remember you were just fascinated with Shoe Man.
Really was. He was something else.
He gave me a pair of boots, used, didn't fit.
Saw you wear them on a couple of road trips. Really,
that's how I knew they didn't fit.
Really suited you quite well. Two outs and a runner at first. Josh Rodriguez 0 for 2 in his major league debut with a pair of strikeouts.
Not a fair test for a Rule 5 player when you're up against one of the best pitchers in the game. But that's how you learn.
You had a nice visit with Clint Hurdle on the pregame show.
I did. You know, as I said, My first year in Kansas City was his first year, and it wasn't. It was an up and down season time for Clint, but
popped up. Berkman, a long way to go, playing deep, and still, as high as that was, able to get underneath it and make the catch. Pujols coming up. Cardinals half of the sixth as they wrap up their first homestand of the season. Jim Edmonds there on the left, the black cap on, and Jerry Clinton, it looks like, they're on the right.
It is. He's with Jerry today, and Jim's looking to buy a home here in St. Louis.
Cardinals and Giants Friday at 3. Westbrook and Sanchez start their 10-day road trip out west. Bud Light, what's on tap? You know, even when Edmonds was throwing out the first pitch, he was limping out to the area to throw that out, so there was no way he was going to be ready for spring training this year.
Jim came over to the house and had dinner the other night, and I mentioned that, you know, you're still limping, and he said, yeah, they want to do surgery. I won't do surgery. I've had some injections and everything, but it's just not right. So pretty much, you know, I mean, he's got a gorgeous home in Palm Springs, one in Southern California, River House.
Out to center, McCutchen going back to make the catch.
And he wants, I think he really has decided he wants to come here to St. Louis and live.
Good. Lance Berkman will be the hitter. Pujols today is 1 for 3 with a strikeout in that line out, singled up the middle. Now Berkman, who has flied to center and grounded into a 6-3 double play.
Alberts hit the ball much better today. Hit the ball hard. Even his strikeout, you know, he didn't agree with the pitch, but he hit a couple hard foul balls in that at bat. He's getting a little closer. There's Mitchell Boggs. Carpenter's at 106. Very early in the season, so want to get him off the hook.
That's a fair ball. Berkman retired. As part of our Fox Sports Supports charitable initiative, we are proud to wear pins during our 2011 MLB on Fox Sports Midwest season. to support Stand Up for Cancer and the work to fund groundbreaking research that helps accelerate treatment to patients. For more information, please visit standuptocancer.org/Fox Sports.
Correa going right through the heart of the order in easy fashion. Carpenter being in jeopardy of losing his 10-game win streak against the Pirates.
The Cardinals need some offense. Only 4 hits so far. Down by 2. Craig has singled today and stole a base.
Stranded 5 runners. They've got four base hits, a couple walks, hit into 1 double play. Kobe hit that ball well last inning with 2 runners on, but just knew he didn't get it in the sweet part of the bat. Just didn't sound crisp.
Matt Holliday, again, we hope to see him back this weekend, and there's the breaking ball from Correa. Center field again, and the Cardinals will go in order. Pujols, Berkman, and Craig down in order. Correa, no runs through 6. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of day. And by Kia Motors. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin with you. 7th inning rolls in. Carpenter now lifted from this ball game. And the Cardinals will say hello in our Chevy call to the pen to Mitchell Boggs. Haven't seen a lot of him, and he'll play a key role this year.
Well, remember in spring training he had a little mild back strain. Came out of a game early. As a matter of fact, it was the same game where Carpenter left with the tightness of the hamstring. He had struck out 2 guys. I think he had 2 strikes on the Knicks batter before he was removed from the game.
High chopper. Descalso spins, throws, makes the play.
Second nice play that Daniels made over at third. But Boggs pitched 3 innings on Sunday. That's his first appearance. Here you see the high hopper. He backs up on the ball, reaches up, not real tall, so reaches up and spears it, and a strong throw across the diamond.
Tabata struck out, singled, and grounded out. Big gap into left center field. It is early, obviously, but there's a look at David Freese. But the Pirates look to be a little bit better than they were a year ago.
Oh, there's no doubt. They've got some good arms, but they got some very nice little offensive team. And Clint Hurdle is, one of the things he told me too is he goes, we've got a lot of guys that we are not a finished major league product. So he goes, I think we really have to act like we got a AAA team. You know, the first day in here they had PFP, pitchers fielding practice. The next day they had early hitting. If they're going to do a lot of instructing here at the major league level, which we've always said there's more instruction at the major league level now than ever before. But a club like the Pirates, they've got to push it every day.
3-1. Most hits since July of 2010. Pretty surprising there. You got Cargo, Ichiro, and then Jose Tabata.
I think Tabata was second in the National League, you know, the final half of the season or since that date.
Draws a walk. He is also singled here.
2 Gonzalez.
So a 1-out walk. Brings in Walker as a pair of hits, including a solo home run. Next time you want to check a Cardinals game, head to StubHub. You'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. Lefty starting to throw on the bullpen. Looks like Talent.
It is.
Walker has singled. There's a look at Talent getting loose. That was in the first. He was robbed by Schumacher in the third. And then the solo home run off of Chris Carpenter in the fifth.
Walker's a switch hitter facing Boggs now. Then you got McCutchen, right hand. Left-handers Overbay and Alvarez. Switch hitter Doman. Lefty Jones. So your lefties, you get your rest when you're facing the Pirates.
Been talk that in the future Mitchell Boggs could be a potential closer. Do you see that?
Yes. I think last year he moved past Mott, because Mitchell can throw as hard as Mott, maybe even consistently harder, but he has a better breaking ball.
1-1.
You know, Mott has worked so much at trying to get a little two-seam fastball that really takes away from his straight 98-mile-an-hour, you know, four-seam fastball, but he really doesn't have much of a breaking ball at all. And he's not right starting the season.
Runner goes, and Molina dropped it. So a steal for Tabata.
Stole that off of Mitchell Boggs. And he had a real good jump. No chance for Molina, and he drops it. So far, Molina, who is the best throwing catcher in the National League, is 0 for 3 in stolen base attempts this young season. The only time anyone was caught was last night with Laird behind the mound.
Ground ball right side. Schumacher there.
Behind the plate.
2 away. Tabata advancing to third. In steps McCutchen.
Talked a little bit in the first 2 games of the series. McCutchen, you always think of him as a leadoff man, but Tabata has really done a good job. We said how many hits he's been getting. That's high on base percentage. So you can move their best all-around player and hitter, moving to the third hole, and he has the ability where he's going to hit some home runs and he's going to drive in some runs.
McCutchen today flied out to center, grounded out to third on a good play by Descalso, and single.
I haven't talked about it, but even this young Pirate ball club, you don't want to see them take a lead late into a game, because they have the bullpen to close it out. Very good closer.
Saw Hanrahan get a 4-out save in game 1 of the series. 1-1 pitch.
He's already 3 for 3 in save opportunities. He's saved all 3 games they have won.
Talking with some of the Cardinal personnel, they look at Boggs and how he delivers it to the plate and is able to really hide the baseball.
As a hitter, you want to watch the release point. And if you have deception, you can block that release point for your body. You know, we got that movement. It becomes deceptive and it's hard to pick up. Then when you can throw it as hard as he can, you know, it just becomes a winning formula. The question with Boggs, and you know, and he's still young and emerging, is can he throw enough strikes to be that closer? To see how he kind of really hides the ball and really tucks right in there, so you know it's almost as if the pitcher or the hitter picks the ball up after it's left the hand and it's already upon you, and you only have a split second to make that decision. You know, you feel like you have less time to make it because you don't see it. A lot of guys just hold their hand way out here, and hitters love it because they see such a clear release point.
Ooh, and he hits McCutchen on a 96-mile-an-hour pitch.
The ball just took off. He never got out in front with it. The ball just started running, and now he'll be out of this game with the left-handers coming up.
Walked a man, hit a man, and got 2 outs. Talent coming in when we come back. Talent, lefty, who's off to a very good start, comes in 2 1/3 innings in his 2 innings of work, or rather, excuse me, 2 games of work, 2 1/3, and 3 strikeouts, no walks.
Now the signing came out of nowhere. Is you look at his numbers from a year ago at Toronto, 2-6, 6.40 ERA. 34 games, 5 as a starter. But what caught the attention of the Cardinals was he held left-handed batters to a 176 batting average. So they felt he was not a starter, but could become a left-handed specialist. And with Trevor Miller, the Cardinals probably could have a very, very good 2-man combination from the left side. And he also knows Terrio, as they were on the national championship LSU team together. You got Zabata at third and McCutchen at first, but if you get Overbay out, they can't go anyplace. They're back to the field.
Cardinals have been out hit 8-4 in this game. Off speed pitch and a swing and a miss. Talent has found a home coming out of the bullpen. He has been a starter, but right now he looks very good and very comfortable coming out of the bullpen.
And he's going to find that he's going to get so much work in this Cardinals bullpen that he will stay sharp. He'll be looking for a day off more so than not, pitching, getting enough work. When you use consistently like that and have a defined role, it's fun to come to the ballpark every day knowing you got a shot to pitch. And as I said, with all the left-handers in the Pirates, lineup, you almost know you're going to pitch every day when you're facing the Pirates.
Two balls and a strike.
Usually when you're 6'6", you know, you're usually slow to the plate. And good base stealers will tell you sometimes they'd rather face or steal against a left-handed pitcher because they're looking right at their eyes.
Foul back, strike two. 2-2. Overbay grounded out to second in the first. Reached on an error by Pujols. There was a single and an error. Came around to score and lined out sharply to center field back in the fifth.
Pirates have been very aggressive. I almost wonder they like to get McCutchen running here. I think maybe if he gets a comfortable jump, he would be even against Molina, because you got the lefty-lefty, and that's maybe talent, or somebody saw something a little bit more, so a little throw over to checking. But always been my philosophy was when you got 2 outs, concentrate on that hitter. Don't split your concentration and make a bad pitch to the plate. He's leaning but not going.
Check swing.
But you see what happens there is when you pay so much attention to the runner, you sacrifice your concentration to plate. Luckily here that ball, you know, Overbay is so late on it that it just hits his bat rather than hitting him. I think that's a byproduct. You're spending too much time worrying about the runner at first.
The 2-2. To short. Terrio up with it. Time to stretch. Talent gets the final out. And Skip leads it off when we come back. 2-0. Pirates on top.
Depot doing more on defense. Daniel Descalzo makes a nice play. Tough hop, high hop here. Goes back on the ball, spins, and has enough arm strength to throw him out. Our Home Depot doing more on defense. Dan, what do you say we break through in the scoreboard?
Correa has been very good.
Everything that they wanted from him. He just not intimidated by his opponent. He just goes out there and going to give you some innings.
Bad hop. Or did he let it play him?
Combination. You know, you hold your ground, maybe even back up a little bit, that ball could take a little hop and come up on you. Most of the time, and this is well hit, but most of the time, if you come in, you could pick the hop you want. But you got a higher hop than we said. Busch Stadium is a very, very good playing surface. And occasion you'll have a hop like that, or one will hit a seam. But for the most part, players love this field because it's very true.
Maybe that's what the Cardinals needed here in their half of the seventh, trailing by 2. Molina has seen his average dip to 125. He's 0 for 1 today with a walk. 2-0 Pittsburgh lead.
Remember, now you've got a guy that can hit the ball to the right field, a good hit and run man. They're going to try and take advantage of every opportunity to run against this catcher.
You guys know anything about Yachty's new neck tattoos? Tyler in Marionville, Missouri, carsoup.com, email the booth. And my understanding is it's a private issue for Yachty. That, yeah, it's something that he wants to keep to himself. But
and it's one on each side of the neck.
Hit and run was on, and it's popped up. And the catcher got hit. That's Domet.
Brad Henderson, Cardinal former assistant trainer, now the head trainer, and a real good one out there to attend to Domet. There's a new concussion rule in baseball, and we hope we're not worrying about that with Ryan Domet. But that ball got in so deep. It got in so deep on Molina as they jammed him, that you get that late swing, and with the runner going, he might have stepped up a little bit sooner than what he normally does. See that swing? And then the backswing as he's coming up, and that didn't hit the helmet. That looked like it got him right on the back of the neck, right below the helmet. I always thought Ryan had sort of a football mentality, so I think he's going to talk his way into staying out there. He thinks he's back in Pittsburgh for tomorrow's opening day, though. They played 10 straight games to start the season. Doesn't wear the old catcher's skull cap. He just wears the old hat and the helmet. And it looked like that really got underneath the bill of the helmet and got him on the back of the neck. See, like these modern batting helmets with the ear flap, they come down deeper or further on the neckline, where you just wear that helmet right there, and it got right underneath the bill.
Short lead at first by Schumacher. Descalso with a base hit today. It's a double back in the 5th. Initially, Schumacher was ruled an error on that hard hit ball to short. That's now been changed to a base hit. In the air down the right field line. And the catch is made by Jones.
Why hasn't somebody hit 400 with the generous scoring of today?
David Freese will be the pinch hitter for Talent.
Another good job by Brian Talent.
Cardinals have scored in 10 of 50 innings so far this year.
And only a couple times they've been multiple runs.
Arm of Adam Wainwright.
Adam, really the arm is feeling very good. Physically, the problem he has is in the leg. About 30% of human beings do not have the tendon in their wrist that they transposed for the ligament in the elbow. And Adam was one of those. And so they had to take a tendon out of his calf. And that's where he really has the most discomfort, is in his leg, which keeps him from doing a lot of the lower body strengthening exercises. So he's just saying he's wasting away. Can't do much with his upper body, with his elbow. And now because of where they took the ligament out of his, or the tendon out of his calf, you know, he can't do any leg work either.
Freeze in the hole, 0-2. David off to a slow start, hitting 133.
Ask Mark McGuire, you're a little worried about David. You know, you forget he's a young player that doesn't have a lot of playing time here, and he says absolutely not.
Check swing, he went after it, and a strikeout.
And he said that's what his problem is. He hadn't been swinging the strikes.
2-0. Pirates on top. Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. And by AT. Beautiful day for baseball here in St. Louis. Big crowd on hand at Busch Stadium, and it's 2-0. The Pirates leading the Cardinals. Another lefty is in, the last lefty for the Cardinals in the pen, and that's Trevor Miller.
Trevor's third year with St. Louis. Outstanding ever since he arrived, and expect him to do much the same. He hasn't disappointed. Got some big outs yesterday. Pitching in his third game.
Numbers on Trevor, and later tonight it'll be Cincinnati and Houston. Houston is still not won a game. They are 0-4. The Reds are 4-0 as Pedro Alvarez leads it off. Houston had a start in Philly. They had opening day just about won, and you mentioned Mayberry before. It was his son that picked up a game-winning hit in game one for the Phillies. The Reds have scored 31 runs in their first 4 games.
They've been doing things in dramatic fashion.
Most come from behind wins in the National League a year ago.
Opening day, they got what, 3-run home run. Hernandez to steal a victory away from Milwaukee.
The 2-1 pitch to Pedro Alvarez. 3-1. Redbirds with just 5 hits. activity in the Pittsburgh bullpen.
Meek
hit down the right field line. It's hooking, and that ball is fair. Played perfectly by Berkman. Gets it back in, and it's a leadoff double.
Couple of hits for Alvarez. He's going to be a good one. Still a very young player. Off to a little bit of rough start, but a couple of hits here today. And just mislocation. Looked like they wanted that further away. Berkman did play the carom perfectly. Gets it back in with authority. Holds him to the double. Evan Meek, who is warming up for the in the bullpen, is had a tough start to the season.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Looks like Mott is starting to throw for the Redbirds.
Yeah, he will be in for Rodriguez, but they may pinch hit for him if they bring in the right-hander.
And here is Ryan Doumit following the double. Squaring to bunt. It's a good one. Miller, a wide throw to Pujols. Keeps his toe on the bag. And Alvarez advances on the sacrifice.
One of their biggest offensive threats, Doman, sixth-place hitter, has to sacrifice, but they did that with earlier this year already with Oberbay. And then Diaz is going to pinch hit here, so you might see Mott right now. Dave asking if he's ready. He should be ready. He was up last inning. And now Molina will stall a little bit, give another half dozen tosses, and then you'll see the pitch and change. Then Hurdle, I think, is telling everybody, check your egos at the door. You know, we haven't won for 18 years. We're going to do some things that maybe you don't think is right, but you know, you're not a finished major league product. So when we have scoring opportunities, it makes sense. If I have to call on one of my big hitters to drop down a bunt, that's what we're going to do to play team winning baseball. And it's the right thing to do.
So leadoff double by Alvarez. The sacrifice and the pitching change upcoming here for St. Louis. Still has not been a signal for the bullpen. Now there is. Cardinals trailing by the score of 2-0. They've been out hit 9-5 for the Redbirds.
throw sinkers, trying to throw a so-so off-speed pitch.
Ground ball and nice play. Descalso on the backhand. Got him. Takes the hit away and saves a run.
Very, very strong game by Descalso over at third base. At least his third fine gem right there. And a nice job by the youngster Alvarez to not get get trapped off the bag there. It's a tag play. So he might have got his foot on the bag, but Alvarez gets back and then he completes the throw, and very nice play, and they don't get a run out of it.
We're talking about a guy that is a natural middle infielder too.
Sure. Really a second baseman, and probably his next best position would be third, but very little experience there. And he could play short in a pinch, but not the most desirable position for him.
John Bowker is the pinch hitter for Rodriguez. Little pick-me-up there for Mott. Cardinals in the bottom of the eighth will have the top of the lineup, Terrio, Rasmus, and Pujols.
Dan, you said the magic word, pick-me-up. A guy like Mott, boy, you need something positive. You get that little positive thing, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're invincible again. Now you've got 2 outs. Now you can go ahead and just blow a guy away. Or, if he hits the ball in the air, he's a fly ball pitcher. Strikeout, fly ball pitcher. They kind of a lot of times go together because he throws a lot of pitches up. Intentional walk here. As his strength is facing right-handed batters, and Steve Pearce is on deck. He'd pinch hit.
That would be it for Correa, so you'd be into the bullpen here of the Pirates.
I think they were going to be in their bullpen anyway. So why not do it with this opportunity to pad your lead? Correa did his work, and they have a good, they've got pretty good 8th and 9th inning men.
So Correa's afternoon is through. He'll exit with a lead of 2-0 at least. 34,965 here today at the ballpark. So Correa, 7 innings, only gave up 5 hits and no runs. Walked a couple. Fastball and a strike in 96 from Mott.
Mott's left foot, how he really pigeon toes it, turns it back towards second.
In the air to right. Pirates will strand 2. Good work by Jason Mott. It keeps it a 2-0 Buccos lead. Is in 2-0 lead for Pittsburgh, and this is one of the guys in the back end of the bullpen that Clint Hurdle really likes.
Well, he's off to a slow start, but he was a real good pitcher last year for the Pirates. 5-4, 2.14 ERA, 70 appearances and 4 saves. He's one of those Rule 5 picks back in 08 as he was selected from Tampa Bay, and he's pitched well and gotten better every year. As I said, a slow start for him, but you have to believe in his power arm.
Pierce is in right field. Cedeno takes over at short. Ryan Theriot will lead it off. Yeah, the back end of the Cubs rotation will get a test now. They've got a couple of injuries reported this morning. One we know well in Randy Wells, who's from this area, and also Andrew Kashner, both going on the DL.
Well, Kashner came out of the game yesterday with a lead after 5+ innings. Shoulder strain, and what did Randy Wells do?
Forearm discomfort. So here is Ryan Theriot, underway here in the Cardinals half of the 8th. Walked back in the 5th. He's grounded out to second, also popped out to second. Batting 190 thus far. Cardinals need hits. They need base runners. Correa was terrific here today. His second consecutive solid outing for Pittsburgh. 7 innings, 5 hits, walked a couple. That was it.
Monday night,
struck out 3.
Excuse me. Monday night, Meek was charged with 2 runs without retiring the batter in the 8th inning. Suffered a blown save and loss on Saturday afternoon, giving up 5 runs, 2 earns in the 8th inning when he entered with a 3-0 lead. We've seen him pitch a lot of good baseball.
See the reaction there of Theriot is not happy at all about that last call. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Accepting failure, also keeping your emotions in check. Don't give away in a bat because you feel like you got robbed of a pitch during the middle of it. Breaking ball just kind of hung up there, didn't it? Recognized it, but couldn't do much of it. Leading with the elbows, not staying on top of the pitch. Kind of the arm drags through the zone, and you get a frisbee effect on your breaking ball.
I think we can see it and pick it up from here with these breaking balls that you're talking about, and dragging his arm a little bit.
But we also know how difficult, even when you pick it up, to hit it.
Still have to hit it.
You still have to hit it.
1-2 pitch to Theriot. Fastball, and struck him out.
Fastball away there, hits a spot. That pitch up there, hard to stop your swing, and that's more of the Evan Meek that we've seen the last couple of years. Good pitchers pitch when you're ahead of the count.
95 miles an hour.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, with a guy like Theriot or a guy that doesn't have much power, you can elevate the ball. I always say keep the ball down. In the case of a guy that doesn't have any power, elevate the ball, make him hit it in the air. With that pitch, you get a pop-up, swing or miss, or the fly ball that stays in the park.
Evan Meek, a Rule 5 pickup.
You want to see the ball.
Colby is 1 for 4 against Meek in his career.
But you know how difficult it is. If you're going to be a championship caliber team every year, it's hard to not say waste a roster spot on a Rule 5 pick. There have been some real good ones, but maybe Ugla, the best one we've heard of lately.
2 away. But when a guy's throwing mid-90s, that's awfully tough to just leave that guy exposed.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can, and it's easier. You can hide him in the bullpen. But if he goes out there as a young player in the rotation, he's not ready for that.
Diamondbacks are leading Chicago today, 5-3. That's in the bottom of the 7th. How about Kansas City and all their walk-off wins? They're winning again today, 5-2 over Chicago in the 7th.
once again, you've got a team that has really struggled, has not had much success, but they have recognized as the best farm system in baseball. And, these young players come up here and they think they can win. They aren't sure yet.
Pujols in the air, left center. Will it carry out of here? McCutchen back with room and makes the catch. Sends us to the ninth. Top of the lineup for Pittsburgh coming up.
Left fielder,
Cards down 2 as we head to the ninth at Busch Stadium. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Player reaction straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts. And Dr. Horton on why the Cardinals offense is struggling. That and more coming up after the game. For now, we head back to the booth. And Dan and Al, gentlemen.
These kids are having a little fun behind you, Jim.
Simmer down, kids.
Why are they out of school? Sure, come on, camera. Come on, we'll show you. Then all of a sudden, some parents, maybe a teacher. Wait a minute, that's Johnny. It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off here. Uh-oh.
I could tell you stories partially of Whitey Herzog as he played hooky all the time on day games. We'll come over to St. Louis and watch the Cardinals or the Browns play. I'll tell you where he went after the game, but
is it the same place he goes now?
No.
Okay.
Those kind of places aren't around anymore.
Okay.
And it's not what you're thinking. It's not what you're thinking. But those, I don't know what they were called back then, but there was a lot of off-color entertainers and stuff. And
I'll quit while you're ahead.
Good point.
Here's Tabata, 2-2.
I think he said he was 13 at the time, and he was a favorite.
Oh. Fly ball into right again, and Berkman makes the catch. Do you see Andy Pettitte sitting out the entire year?
Well, because he said that he didn't have the fire in the belly, and which I think is a big statement, because obviously he could have made
15 billion.
Yeah, it was. I think he was rumored around 15 million when he was offered. So I mean that tells you something that as much as you love to play this game, and really guys played for money. We all played for money. It wasn't much around back then, but a guy has that that thinks and believes enough in the game to say, okay, I don't want $15 million if I feel like I'm cheating the game.
You wonder if a time like this, he's sitting there watching the game, that he says, boy, I missed this.
Well, it's shocking to me that this early in the season that a guy recently retired would come watch, especially out of town.
Sure. Well, he is home a lot now. Maybe he had to get out of the house. Just a guess.
You trying to get yourself in trouble now?
No. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hey, the Yankees could step up and say, you want to come out and pitch for the stretch run and prorate that deal and make it worth your while.
Well, it made me think about what Clemens did for a couple of years.
Exactly.
Come back to the second half. Don't have all that wear and tear. You got a couple months to. He's had a lot of arm injuries, and let it rest and heal, hopefully, and then see if you got that drive. Early June, late May, something like that, and start preparing for the stretch run. There'd be a lot of teams that would be after him.
Couple of hops to second. Schumacher there. Pujols almost took it in the face.
Yeah, it looked like he was expecting a real soft toss, so wasn't prepared for that throw, and he adjusted to it, but awkwardly. Watch his head right here as he jerks away from it.
Barry Shipach is watching Cardinals baseball today, a huge fan. He and Carol don't miss a game. One of our biggest fans, and we appreciate that. One of the great people in our community too. So happy birthday to Barry.
Carol's grandfather, right?
Again, you're getting in trouble.
Not with Carol.
It's taken low. Two and 1 the count on McCutchen.
All right, let's talk about some positives. Boggs got a little work in. Here Mott's getting a chance to get confidence. Tony and Duncan to get confidence, use him, in 8th inning with leads. The offense, we can't say much there. Were a few guys. Albert's hit the ball hard today a few times. Dunk. Carpenter goes 6 innings, scattered 8 hits, but 2 runs, only 1 was earned.
That's a ground rule double off the bat of McCutchen.
But when you don't hit, you don't score runs, it's very hard to find a lot of positives.
Cardinals actually catch a break there by having a ground rule double. That'd have been 3 for sure for McCutchen.
Right, challenge with fastball, and that's why he's in that 3rd hole, because they feel that he's going to be driving the ball a lot more, hitting more home runs. Get men on in front of him, he'll be an RBI man.
Two outs and a runner at second for Lyle Overbay. He is single today, and that was back in the 4th. Cardinals will have Berkman, Craig, and Schumacher due up. Odd start to watching Pujols here first handful of games, isn't it?
Offensively and even a few times defensively. We always know he'll be aggressive defensively and range to his right and take a lot of hits away, and and yet today, I mean, he did make a a physical and a mental mistake by going too far to his right, taking a ball out of the glove of Schumacher, which led to the unearned run. But everything we say is easily erased with a winning streak.
Foul back. He was on that pitch.
This will be a good test when you go out to the West Coast, because you're going to see outstanding pitching, better pitching than they have seen in the first 6 games, even though one of our opponents is, we have already seen, the Padres. But in their big ballpark, guys can just throw the ball down the middle and say hit it and not worry about being a home run.
2-2 the count. Foul tip.
I said it scares you a little bit too that the Giants off to a very slow start, 1-4.
You are exactly right, though. This team is winning and hitting, and Pujols is not really a part of it. That would really overshadow what's happening with him.
Yeah, even if Albert is hitting the way he's hitting and you're winning, you're going to say, "Oh, what a great team." You aren't asking. You don't need his input every day to win a ball game. And not picking on Albert defensively, because he'll win a lot of games for you with that glove too. 2-time Gold Glove winner. But sometimes he will go too far to his right.
3-2 out of play again. Mott is just rearing back and saying, here you go. That pitch at 97.
Well, see, that's what he has to do. I thought he got in trouble. In spring training, yeah, that is the right time. He's going to be on your ball club. It's the right time to try and find those secondary pitches. But at some point, you've got to get people out. And for him to get people out, he's got to be that gunslinger, go back and reach back and throw the ball as hard as he can. Occasionally, you can mix something in there to know you have something else. But if they're not getting around on you, why are you worried?
3-2 the count.
Now, what he's going to have to learn is how to spot the ball a little better and keep it out of the middle of the plate. He can get away with a lot of times with that high octane, but if he can spot the ball inside, outside, it'll help him even more.
Good battle here.
There was a swing right there in a foul ball that tells the pitcher now he's getting timing a little better now, so you better change location. Foul the ball back right over the shoulder of the catcher. They're starting to center the ball. When it goes off to the sides, they're either ahead of the pitch or behind it.
Pulled down the right field line. This could be trouble. That is a fair ball. Run will score. That's McCutchen. And it's 3-0 Pittsburgh.
Tried to get inside. Didn't get it quite there. Strong enough. Jammed him and muscled it out there.
What an at-bat, though, there by Overbay, who's had a pretty good series.
And that's what Mark McGwire was talking about today. Having a good at-bat. He might have struck out here, but it still was going to be a good at-bat. But see, this time he gets the ball down a little bit more, and he's able to put a better swing on it. Even though he didn't really hit it on the good part of the bat, didn't sound crisp, but a good battle. And, you just got to make that pitch a little further in or all outside.
This will be pitch number 35 for Mott coming up. Activity in the Cardinals bullpen, and Pedro Alvarez will be the hitter.
Augustine warming up. It's also Franklin, but why? Unless he wants to get a through tosses in with the off day. And of course, he'd be available if you come back and tie this game, but he wouldn't need all that time to warm up. And he's already sat down.
One and one the count. Runner at second, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alvarez pops it up on the infield. Descalso makes the catch. Cardinals just 5 hits this afternoon. Berkman tries to change that when we come back. Day action here on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals, very simply, it's been a struggle.
Well, you see the 226 average. They've only scored 14 runs in the 6 games, only 2 innings. They had a crooked number there, and they've hit into 10 double plays, killing a lot of potential rallies. And 8 for 40 with runners in scoring position. It will get better, but it's going to be tough against this guy. Already 3 for 3 in save opportunities. Hard thrower. I mean, here's a hard thrower who's got an excellent tight breaking ball. That it's almost unfair. You have to look fastball, but he throws so hard that if you don't pick up that breaking ball until halfway, you start your swing and you can't stop.
Berkman on the first pitch looks at a ball, grounded out twice. He's also flied out.
4-pitch save on Monday night for Hanrahan, where he was outstanding. But he's big and strong, and Cal Eldridge said, like everybody from Iowa.
That's ripped into right center field for Lance Berkman. Rolls to the wall. Berkman with a leadoff double. Good to see him get around on that fastball.
Well, that's a good test right there. But if you're a hitter and you've got a guy like Hanrahan, you've got to throw away the breaking ball until you got 2 strikes. You just look fastball, and you're going to get that fastball more times than not. And there's a good, nice little swing. I think the one thing we can say in this homestand, a lot of the things, concerns we had about what was left in the tank from Berkman, right now you have to say it's going to be a good year for him. Hopefully he can continue. And remember, this is a guy that notoriously gets off to slow starts.
I don't know about you, but I love watching him work a count. And that's something that we noted when he was in Houston. But Berkman has been very good just in a week here of working a count, Doesn't swing at many bad pitches, taking walks. Exactly what you signed up for.
High on base percentage guy. You know, not only batting average, but he takes those walks like you said.
Grounder hit to short. Cedeno, one away.
He's driven in, you know, 1,100 runs, so he's a run producer. 327 home runs, 5th most by a switch hitter in Major League history. So there's a lot of things to, you know, get excited about, and he's great in the clubhouse. You know, great personality. The guys have already enjoyed the heck out of him. You know, Albert's going to come around. Holiday, unfortunately, was the hottest hitter in spring training, and opening day had a great start. And then the appendectomy. Freese is going to get better. It looks like Colby's going to, you know, learn and become an even better player than he was last season. Freese stays healthy. Schumacher's off to a good start. Molina's been a 2-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner. You know, there's a lot of things, but right now it's just you're at that part of the order too where it's an awful lot of single sitters, and it's hard to put together multiple runs when you get down to this order. Now you got a little bit of a break with a man in scoring position already.
Strike on the outside corner.
You don't advance the leadoff double, and he's getting one out, and he's still at second base. That hurts. 1 for 8 for Schumacher off this hard throwing closer that they got from the Nationals.
1-2 pitch. Good block.
They're so accustomed to saying good block by a Cardinal catcher. Something we don't say often about opposing teams, but there was a good one there.
Hanrahan came over from Washington along with Lastings Millage, for outfielder Nigel Morgan, and pitcher Sean Burnett.
And that's going to be Washington's closer. They kind of closer by committee, but he'll probably get the most opportunities. Nigel Morgan traded late in spring training in Milwaukee.
Ricky Ankiel is their everyday center fielder in Washington.
And Nigel, no respect, wasn't even announced on the PA system opening day. Forgot him.
2-2. If that happened to him, that could incite a brawl.
Fan in the stands imitating Tony La Russa and catching a ball with his cap, but he was successful.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Skip Schumacher. Breaks his bat, and the Cardinals are down to their final outs. Our Budweiser player of the game, Kevin Correa, his second start for the Pirates, and very, very good. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, and he struck out 3, and that's our Budweiser player of the game.
And he's in line for his second victory in his first 2 starts as a Pirate. I think they only won something like 17 games on the road last year, and they're already looking at number 4. And they only had about less than a handful of road series wins. I think they had 2 of them against Chicago, and they're already on the verge of winning 2 of their first 2 here this year.
Now you see the front leg Hanrahan. Mott is now doing this where he closes in the left foot. Is that to keep the front shoulder in?
Yeah, it really does kind of keep it in there. And also is that deceptiveness where, like we said, you know, you're not just showing your release point by closing off a little bit. You're blocking the view of that batter. He doesn't see that ball until it gets on top of you. When you throw this hard, you know, it works to your favor.
Molina, base hit into right. The tying run will come to the plate. Yadi's digging for 2, and the Cardinals get on the board. 2 out, RBI double for Yadier Molina.
Third RBI for Yadi, but wasn't that a pretty swing? I mean, you're really trying to make contact he has that ability to go to the opposite field. But look at that swing. Just nice and easy, a 98 mile an hour pitch. Just trying to make contact. Guided over there to right field. The velocity will put the distance, and the velocity coming off the bat, just how hard he throws. Just center the bat on the ball.
Descalso, first pitch, hit out of play. We talked about it last night. Old school baseball, down by a couple of runs, you take that pitch, but really the mindset set across Major League Baseball has changed. You get that first pitch to your liking, go after it.
Used to be, when you're down, you're right. You take a strike, you make that pitcher work. I don't think guys really understand that just watching the action of a baseball, when you're standing in the batter's box looking, it can be really helpful. But you're right. The philosophy is, get ahead, get ahead pitch. You might throw a lollipop breaking ball. You might throw a BP fastball. Not your closers. They don't do that.
The 1-1 is hit in the air. This should do it. Shallow left. Cedeno calling for it. He's got it. The Pirates take 2 of 3. And the opening homestand comes to a close. The Cardinals are 2-4 this young season. Post-game show. Pat and Rick, stay with us. 3-1. Pirates win it.